Hi, it is July 3rd, 2016, and this is the introductory video for engineering ethics at the New Jersey Institute of Technology. This will be the summer 2016 course, and I'll be your instructor. My name is Dan Estrada. This will be my third year. This fall will be my third year teaching engineering ethics at NJIT. My second year as a full-time instructor. I hold a PhD in philosophy from the University of Illinois. I also hold a bachelor's degree in computer science from the University of California, Riverside. I really enjoy teaching this course, and I hope you enjoy it as well. So this video will be a little introductory video to what's going on. I'll go over the syllabus, the assignment schedule, just introducing you to the video. Normally during the school year, I do weekly hangouts, but because the schedule is a little bit chaotic in the summer, and not everyone will be able to meet at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and post my old hangouts from last semester, from the spring semester, so you can get the advantage of hearing my lectures, getting the advantage of listening to what happens during the hangouts. So this will be the only live video that I'll record, but I will be active on the website. You can always email me if you have questions or want a discussion. If you want to meet via a hangout like this, we can have a private video chat that we can schedule. Just let me know. You can send me an email. Why don't we go ahead and jump into the website so that we can see how the course works. Let's see. So if you go to moodle.njit.edu, you'll come to this page, and you can log in with your NJIT UCID. When you log in, you'll come to a page with all your courses, all the courses that you're currently taking or that you've taken in the past. Many of you have used Moodle before. This is your first time using Moodle, though. You want to go to this 16U. This is the summer 2016 engineering ethics course. This is our course. That's me. And this is what our course looks like. When you come to the front page, this will be the whole course. If you scroll down, it goes down for 15 lessons. So this course is normally a 15-week course. It takes place during a normal semester. And we're taking that full course this summer over the span of 5 weeks, which means you should expect to be completing about 5 lessons a week. That's how the schedule is organized, 5 lessons a week. A lesson takes roughly 5 hours to complete. So you should be thinking about spending about 15 hours a week on this course to do well. Just a little forewarning, because we're cramming all this stuff in pretty tight, the schedule will be very rapid, and I want to make sure that we have a good start. We know everything that's going on, so we can jump right into the material. So I'm Dan Estrada. My email is estrada@njit.edu. We do have a course textbook that you will need to get because there's some lessons in it. This is Engineering Ethics, Martin and Schlesinger. This is the 4th edition. Please make sure you get the 4th edition. The page numbers will not apply to the 3rd edition. I have not found a digital copy of this online. If anyone finds a digital copy online, please give it to me, and I will make it available to the rest of the students. So you can find this in the bookstore. You can also get it online on Amazon for about 15 bucks. It's not too expensive. Please get it as soon as possible because you will have assignments due this week that use the course textbook. So like I said, there are 15 lessons this semester. Each lesson will consist of lecture, some reading and a lecture that I've written, and then a quiz on the lecture and the reading, and then a discussion forum where you will write an essay every lesson and then discuss your thoughts with the rest of the class. So this is what a lesson consists of. It's always a lecture, a reading quiz, and then a discussion forum. We have 15 of these lessons, and they all have this format, with one exception for a research project in weeks 10 and 11, which I will talk about shortly. So your assignment for every lesson is to do the reading, take the quiz, and write in the discussion forum. When I say writing in the discussion forum, what that means is that you are required to write one post of about a page, 350 words. I also allow posts to be video essays, vlogs, of about 3 minutes or more. That's your post. You have to do one of these per lesson. In addition to your post, you also have to reply to 2 other students. Replies are about 150 words or about a short paragraph. and you need 2 of those for full credit. Your post and the quiz for that lesson are always due on Fridays at midnight. And the way our schedule works, which I'll show you in just a bit, we have 3 lessons due every Friday. So lessons 1, 2, and 3 will be due this coming Friday, Friday the 8th. So your lessons are due on Friday at midnight. Your replies, your responses to other students' work, are always due the following Tuesday at midnight. So lessons 1, 2, and 3 are all due this Friday, the 8th at midnight. And the replies to lessons 1, 2, and 3 are due next Tuesday at midnight. So that's Tuesday at midnight going into Wednesday. So at Wednesday, 12 o'clock a.m., these things will be considered late. And I have a very strict late policy, so you want to make sure you follow late policy. We'll go over that when we look at the syllabus in just a second. But that's it. So if you do these 15 lessons, read the lecture, take the quiz, do the discussion forum, you have completed the course. There's no other requirements. There's no exams or finals. There's not going to be any comprehensive exams. There will be some opportunities for extra credit assignments to make up for points that you might miss. But otherwise, it's just these 15 lessons and you've completed the course. So on Moodle, you can go to the course syllabus here. I will also post course announcements here if there's changes to the schedule, changes to any kind of policy, or any other kind of announcement that I need to make. I'll post here. Please don't, students, I would prefer if you didn't post here. Anyone who posts here sends a mass email to the entire class. That's especially bad during the semester when I have 60+ students in a class. But even in this small summer course, I'd prefer to leave the course announcements for me sending out important announcements to class. If you scroll down on the Moodle page, you'll see the lessons, starting with lesson 1, title of the lesson. This big block of text is going to be my lecture, where I give you, at the end of that lecture, a short writing prompt. Your job is to consider the writing prompt. You don't have to answer these questions explicitly. You just have to think about these lessons as you peruse the readings. So in this lesson 1, you can see that I have lots of different readings. Some of these readings are required, and some of these readings are optional. Your job is, remember, is to write a 350-word or more post, respond to the posts of others, and then take a quiz. The required reading, the quiz will cover the required readings, so the quiz can draw from any of the readings covered by the required readings. So it's in your interest to look over all these, look over all this material and have an understanding of what's going on so you can take the quiz. But then there's also optional material. The quiz will not cover this material, but you are free to use this material in formulating your answer to the question. So the optional material here is to give you some options for what you want to write on, to find something that interests you. And also to give a little bit of variety. If everyone's writing on the same thing, the discussion forums can get a little bit boring. So if you don't want to write on the same thing everyone else is writing on, you might check the optional readings for some novelty. So look over the readings, take the quiz on the required reading, and then write a post that responds to the general writing prompt. It doesn't have to explicitly answer the question, but it has to be on the general theme of the lesson. In this case, the theme is engineering social systems. And you write your post, you reply to other people's posts, and you take the quiz, and that's your lesson. This should actually say 7-8. The 8th, Friday is the 8th. So let me change that right now. So this first lesson is due on the 8th, this Friday. The lesson and the quiz are both due on the 8th. So let me change that due date here. Okay. Normally, you will have the quiz, your post, and the replies. But in this first week, I don't have a quiz. Instead of a quiz, I'm asking that you do something else, which is prepare yourself to write on the forums. In order to prepare yourself, I have 2 things you should do to get the 20 points usually assigned for quizzes. So I would like you to set your Moodle profile, your Moodle avatar, your profile. You can see here's my avatar up here. So that's just a little picture to recognize you. It doesn't have to be a picture of your face. It can just be a picture that I can use to recognize you. That makes it a lot easier to have these conversations if I have a stable identifier. In addition to setting your profile, I'm also asking that you respond to a forum thread titled Introductions, where you answer some basic questions about yourself, just to introduce yourself to the group so that we all know who you are. If you set your avatar and you post in the introductions thread, you will get the 20 points for quiz credit. In addition to quiz credit, you also get, you also have to write your post and send replies. The posts are due on Friday at midnight as a new discussion in the Lesson 1 forums. You also need to set your avatar and post in the introductions thread. And then Tuesday, you need to leave 2 replies in the discussion forums. So I'll usually have a little bit of detail about what your assignment is one more time. So it's a lecture that goes over the themes of the course, ties the readings together, a little introduction to the readings, some clarification on your assignments, and then another statement of the readings themselves. At the bottom of every lesson, there's a discussion forum. Here's discussion forum 1. Sometimes here in lesson 2, you'll see discussion forum 2 and quiz 2. There is no quiz 1. It just starts with quiz 2. But you'll see both the quizzes and the posts that you can go to. And if we go to forum discussion 1, you'll see here's the forum. I have an open thread where you can just talk about whatever you want. I'll usually put a little comic in here to add some humor to some of the discussions. Here's the introduction thread. Remember, for lesson 1, you have to post in the introduction thread to earn full credit for the quiz. There's the prompt again. So you can just write your reply here and then hit submit, and that'll post your reply. When you're adding a new discussion, when you're posting your essay, your 350-word essay, make sure you add a new discussion. You can write it here. Sometimes this is a little bit inadequate. I personally prefer to go to the advanced editor, which will allow me to do things like bold and underline, spell check. I can insert images and so on. So this is a good way of editing your post. Make sure to give your post an interesting title. Yeah, and then when you write your post and submit it to that discussion forum, that's what you have to do for your post requirement. So there's 15 of these lessons. If you scroll down, you'll see all 15 of them. I'm going to post this video right here at the top. And then in each lesson, I'm going to post the Hangouts that I held last semester during the spring semester for each of these lessons, where I give a little lecture. So that way you'll have the benefit of the lecture. I'll post those YouTube videos at the top of every lesson. Just to go into a little bit more detail, let's go ahead and jump into the syllabus. You can go to the course syllabus right here. All the questions you might have will be answered in the syllabus. The syllabus covers course policies, expectations, my grading rubric, the late policy, the policy on plagiarism. All of these issues are covered in detail in the syllabus. The syllabus is 15 pages long. So it might be a little bit much for a syllabus, but every question you can possibly have will be answered. Every policy that I have is answered here. There's my email address. Email is the best way to reach me, and I will try to respond within 24 hours to any email. There's a textbook. There's the 3 parts of the lesson. Midterms or finals. Lectures. Remember, you're spending 5 hours per lesson to complete this course. So if we're doing 3 lessons a week, that's 15 hours a week on this course. That's a lot of time. You're going to want to break that time up. You can't do that time all on Friday when the assignments are due. So please try to manage your time wisely. Spend a few hours a night. If you spend 3 hours a night on this course, you will easily meet the requirements. The quizzes cover the reading material. If you remember from the course, there's a lot of reading material. I give a lot of required texts in addition to optional texts. Remember, the quizzes only cover the required text, but even then, it's a lot of material. I'm usually giving 4 or 5 different articles, sometimes videos. You are not expected to read and review and understand all of that material. You're only expected to appreciate enough to take the quiz. The quizzes are open note, and they're not time restricted. You can take as long as you want. So you can have the texts open and refer to them in order to answer the quiz. The point of the quiz is to make sure that you do open up these articles and actually look at them. They're not designed to test your comprehension or memorization or anything like that. They're just designed to motivate you to open up the files and actually look through them. Hopefully, by doing so, you will find something you actually want to write about. Quizzes count for 20% of your grade. 60% of your grade comes from the discussion forums. Most of your grade, your ability to pass or fail this course, depends on your contributions to discussion forums. Again, discussion forums have two parts, your posts and your replies. Your posts have to be at least 350 words. If you're writing an essay, it should be at least 350 words, reflecting on the course themes and tying together some of the readings that I'm offering. The requirements for video essays is the same, except that it's judged in terms of length instead of word count. Should be about 3 minutes. It should reflect on the readings, tying them together, emphasizing course themes, and so on. Now, the goal of these discussion forum posts is for you to engage the material and to critically engage the material, to have some critical thoughts, and to share your reflections with the rest of the class. What that means is that I'm looking for, and I'm going to be grading you on, how seriously and deeply you engage the material. The more critical, thoughtful engagement I see, the better you're going to score. The more sloppy and half-assed and rushed it is, when it looks like you're just trying to meet the deadline, you're just trying to meet the minimum word count, that's going to cause your points to go down. Right? So just meeting the minimum word count is not enough to get full credit. You have to show that you're engaged with the course material, that you're thinking through it carefully and critically. So your post should be at least 350 words, or at least a 3-minute video. Your replies must be written, and they must have to be at least 150 words. You need 2 of these paragraph-length replies for full credit. This says full replies are due 1 week after. It should do Tuesday after. So your posts and your quizzes are due on Friday at midnight, and your replies are due the following Tuesday at midnight. I have a mostly hands-off approach to the discussion forums. I'll jump in if I'm interested or if I think it's necessary, if I see things that need correction. But otherwise, this is supposed to be peer-led, peer-motivated discussion. Don't treat this as busy work. Don't treat this as just trying to spit out something in order to meet the word count. Use this time as the valuable time that it is, having the opportunity to reflect philosophically, ethically on your values, the values of others, to have the opportunity in a safe space to have these conversations. It's an incredibly rare opportunity. You're not going to get it very often as an adult. This is what education is for, is to have this time to think about these things. So please use it. Before I get to the research project, let me emphasize this one more time. Going down here to the grading policy. We're going to be, let me actually put on the, the video. So this is an ethics class, and we're going to be talking about a lot of controversial things, things you might disagree with, things that implicate you and your values, your cultural background, your experiences, your feelings, your emotional responses, your political leanings. All of these things are fair game for this class. And it's important to me that you are honest in your discussions and you say what you really mean. This class only works, this class is only successful if you actually engage both your own thoughts and the thoughts of others. If you're not really engaged with the material, if you're not really engaged with your own thoughts or the group discussions, then you're not going to get anything out of this course. This is one of these courses where you get out of it what you put into it. And the more you put into it, I think the more you'll appreciate how this course is structured. Yeah, so please use this opportunity. You'll not get very many opportunities to do this kind of thing again. I also want to say that none of the grading and none of the policies are designed to make you agree with any of my views. I wrote all the lectures, I selected the reading material, and my biases will probably come through in that preparation. But the point here is not to indoctrinate you with my views. You will not be graded on how much you agree with me. In fact, you will probably do better in this course the more constructively you disagree with me, because disagreements, constructive disagreements, show that you're engaged critically with the material. So if there's things that you don't like about the course, please let them know. please let them be known. Please talk about it on the discussion forums. That's what those forums are for. That's how you will do well in this course. You're not going to be graded on how much you agree with me. It is not the point for you to agree with me. So don't just tell me things that you think I want to hear. That will probably get you graded down. Tell me things about what you believe and how you view the world. That's what I want to hear. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the syllabus. Let's finish up a few more things here. So your written post and your replies plus your quiz is the normal assignment for each of the lessons. There is one exception. Well, two exceptions. In lessons 10 and 11, you will have an independent research project. I'm going to ask you to conduct some scholarly research on a topic of your own choosing. I'll give you some options to choose from, but you can also pick something that's relevant to your own career and your own interests. This is a single case study that you're going to be doing, and that case study is going to be extended out over lessons 10 and 11. It's the same case study for both cases, and in lesson 10, what I want you to do is give a presentation of just what happened. It's a fact-finding mission, sort of investigative journalism. Find out what happened, what went wrong, why did it go wrong, who was responsible, who was involved, what were the consequences. And then in lesson 11, I want you to give an ethical analysis. Who's to blame for what went wrong? Why did they do what they did wrong? How do we prevent this stuff from happening in the future? What are the appropriate punishments or corrective actions that we should take? What will you do if you encounter a similar situation in your own career? Right, so lesson 10 is supposed to be the fact-finding mission, and lesson 11 is supposed to be your evaluation of the case and your assessment of it. These two lessons combined will account for about 20% of your overall grade. The research project on its own is as much as all of the quizzes put together. So it's a big deal, and it's a very structured assignment. So I'm just forewarning you now that this is going to be a big project. In fact, lessons 10 and 11 will be the only assignments on this week. This will be the third week of the course. You will only be responsible for doing lessons. Wait, let me make sure. Yeah, you just lessons 10 and 11 on the third week of the course. That's July 29th. So you have about a month before this project is due. So just take this as fair warning. All right, and the late policy. So I have a very strict late policy, and this is going to be a very big deal, especially in this accelerated schedule for the summer. The late policy is very strict because the point of this class is to engage your fellow students in a discussion on the topics, and that means you need to be there for the discussions when they happen. So if you're late to these discussions after everyone else has already said their piece, then you've missed out on the important educational opportunities. So late policy is designed to motivate you to stay on time with your work. So first of all, late quizzes won't be accepted. The quizzes are already posted online. You can start taking the quizzes now. So there's no excuse for a late quiz. If you think that there's going to be a time crunch in the future, if you know that you have other summer obligations to do, make sure you do your quizzes very early because you cannot do them after the deadline. The quizzes will not be accepted unless there's documentation of extreme circumstances, and I'll tell you how that works in a few minutes. Late quizzes will not be accepted. Post and replies that are late are worth 50% for 1 week after they do this. Just say for 1 week. So remember, post and replies are due on the Tuesday following the due date for the post. So the posts are due on Friday. The following Tuesday, the replies are due. Sorry, I need to edit this. Sorry. The policy is that posts and replies are due the Tuesday afterwards, and if they're late, they're worth 50%. So posts and replies turned in late are worth 50% until Friday. And then after Friday, posts and replies will not be accepted. So your post for lessons 1, 2, and 3 are all due on Friday the 8th. The replies for lessons 1, 2, and 3 are all due on Tuesday the 12th. If you don't turn in those replies by Tuesday the 12th, then they are considered late and only worth 50% until the Friday, this would be Friday the 15th, when lessons 4, 5, and 6 are due. You can still turn in those replies for 50% late credit until the 15th. After the 15th, they won't be accepted. Extensions will not be granted within 48 hours of a due date. So you need to stay on top of your work. You need to stay well ahead of your work. My late policy is very strict because everything else in this class is very easy. So if you stay on top of the work, if you stay on top of the assignment schedule, you will do well in this class. That's really your major requirement. Just stay on top of the work. There are emergency situations if there's a death in the family, if there's a medical emergency, some other kind of emergency. The policy is that you need to let the Dean of Students know, and the Dean of Students will assess your situation, provide any documentation or explanation you need to the Dean of Students, and they will let you know if it's a verified and excused absence. And if it is, the Dean of Students will let me know that it's an excused absence, and that's how you will get an excuse to turn in late work without a penalty. Any absences verified by the Dean of Students will be considered, but you have to go through the Dean of Students. So don't tell me that you have a medical emergency. Tell the Dean of Students, and the Dean of Students will tell me. Right, I'm not able to go through your medical records and know what's going on, and I can't do that privately, but the Dean of Students can. So please talk to the Dean of Students about your concerns with your class. If you're struggling for whatever reason, if you have a job and you can't finish your homework, go talk to the Dean of Students. They have resources for helping you with these sorts of things. Don't ask me for excuses because I'm not going to give them. You need to go to the Dean of Students to ask for an excuse. The exception to this is if you know well in advance. Like if you know right now that you're not going to be available on July 29th, and you would like to turn in that work a day late or a day early or whatever. If it's well in advance of the deadline, then that's fine. But I will not grant extensions within 48 hours of the deadline. And then anything after that is going to have to go through the Dean of Students. All right. I will also do attendance credit. So like I said, I will be posting the Hangouts that I conducted last spring with my engineering ethics during this class during the semester. I will be posting those videos online, and those videos contain a word of the day. That word of the day, I will have a sign-in sheet. If you sign into that sign-in sheet, on the date of the Hangout, before the Friday, with the word of the day, then I will give you attendance credit. Attendance credit is worth up to 5% additional of your overall grade, so it can make up 5% of your work if you missed it for whatever reason, late work or whatever. I will give you the option for attendance credit, and like I said, there will also be extra credit opportunities. This attendance credit is extra credit. It won't count against you. You do not have to watch the lectures. All the material that you need to do the course is right there on Moodle. But if you do watch the lectures and you do sign into the attendance credit, you will be given a little bit of a bonus. This can help you if you're around the edge of a grade. And those videos and sign-in sheets will be posted on Moodle. Let me give them a plagiarism. Plagiarism is a problem every semester, especially with the research projects. Plagiarism will not be tolerated. Plagiarism includes things like copying and pasting from the website. It also includes things like failing to adequately cite a paper that you used. Extensive paraphrasing counts as plagiarism. Let me show this to you. I have this example here in the syllabus. I linked to this example of successful or unsuccessful paraphrase, where here's the original source, here's the paraphrase source, and every one of these red lines is directly taken from the original source. This is paraphrase, and this is plagiarism. This will earn you 0 credit for the assignment, and it'll be referred to the Dean of Students as an instance of plagiarism. If the Dean of Students thinks that this is an egregious case of plagiarism, it can result in failure of the course or even expulsion from the program. Plagiarism is a serious offense. Not only does word-for-word copying like this count as plagiarism, but so does paraphrases. This is plagiarism also, where key phrases reappear. Your writing for this class needs to be your own thoughts. It needs to be your own words. If you're basically just filling in doing like a Mad Lib for the original essay, that's plagiarism, and that doesn't count as your own work. Any case of plagiarism, even patchwork plagiarism like this, will be considered plagiarism. It will be given 0 credit, and it will be referred to the Dean of Students. I talk about plagiarism and citation on the syllabus. Please read the syllabus. Again, earning a good grade in this course, passing this course only requires that you do the minimum work. If you do the minimum work, you'll pass this class, no problem. Right? If you do all the assignments, meet the minimum requirements for the assignments, you'll have no problem passing this course. But passing the course isn't the same as earning an A. To earn an A in this course, you have to go above and beyond the minimum requirements to show deep and engaged critical thinking. So each lesson is worth 80 points each. That's 20 points for the quiz. That's 60 points for the discussion, which is 30 points for the post and 30 points for the replies. Each reply is worth 15 points. Right, so your posts and replies are worth the same, are worth equivalent amount. 60 points total. Your research project is worth 130 points for each lesson, lessons 10 and 11. So that's 80 points for the presentation, which is more than your discussion for a normal week, plus your replies, plus an annotated bibliography. For your research project, I'm also asking that you do an annotated bibliography. It's worth 20 points for the sources that you use. I'm asking you find 4 sources, and that'll count for your quiz credit for these lessons. So 13 quizzes, 20 points each is 260 points. 13 discussions is 60 points each is 780 points. 2 research projects at 130 points each is 260 points. That's 1,300 points total. On a straight scale, it looks like this. So you need at least 1,170 points to earn an A in the class. That's not particularly easy, especially if you're turning in work late. The more work you turn in late, the harder it'll be to get these good grades, because late penalty is 50%. That's not a minor amount. All right, posts are graded as follows. If you meet the minimum requirements, you get 24 points out of 30, which is 80%. Let me say this one more time. If you meet the minimum requirements, you get an 80% in the course. 100% is not the default grade. Remember, I'm asking that a regular post is about 350 words. If you write 350 words, that's 80%. That's 24 points out of 30. From this default grade of 24 points, you can earn more points by deeper engagement, independent research, synthesizing themes across sources or across lessons. But you can also lose points from the 24 by being under the word count, by being late, by being sort of superficial, not deep engagement, writing off the top of your head. If it looks like you're just expressing your opinions without critically engaging those opinions, right, this will make your points go down. And remember, it'll go down from 24. So if you earned a 24 out of 30 on your post, you earned the default grade, but you didn't do anything to earn more than that. You didn't lose points, but you didn't gain points either. In order to earn a 30 out of 30, you have to go beyond the minimum requirements. And I have here my grading rubric, which says some of the things I'm looking for in a typical 8-point post. So if you earned between 27 and 30 points, you can consider that an A on your post. And this is what I'm looking for in order to earn an A. That you're deeply engaged, that you draw explicit connections, that you incorporate things beyond what's covered in the lesson, that you really go above and beyond. That's what's required to earn an A. To earn a B, you just have to meet the minimum requirements, which is 350 words in 3 minutes, engages with 1 or 2 of the sources, you express some thoughts that you have. Right? That's what I'm looking for a B post. Most students will be doing B level work, and they'll get a B in the class, and that's perfectly all right. Getting a B in the class, or even a B plus, is nothing to scoff at. C grades are people who are failing to meet the minimum requirements, either because they're turning in work late, they're writing well below the minimum word count, 250 words or so, or if they're just offering cliched wisdom, sort of not thinking critically, just offering hackneyed advice. that's the kind of thing that'll get graded down. If you're rushing to meet the deadline, if it's posted at like 11:55 p.m., this is not going to look good either. This might end up getting points deducted. Complete your work in advance. Think about it carefully before you submit post. I don't have a D grade. F grade is just below a C. If you're doing much worse than a C, in other words, if you're significantly into the word count, if you're late, if you're barely writing anything at all, if it's not critically engaged, if it's incomprehensible, none of this grading, all this grading is about content. It's about how deeply you engage with material. None of it is about writing. I'm not looking for grammatically correct essays. The exception to this is if it's incomprehensible. If your essay is not readable, if I can't understand what's going on, if it looks like it was run through Google Translator, these are the kind of things that might earn an F post. It needs to be at least comprehensible enough to talk to your peers. It doesn't have to be pure formal writing. It doesn't have to be a 3-paragraph essay. It just needs to be an engagement with the material and with your peers. Replies are graded similarly, except out of 15 points. And then annotated bibliographies for the research project are graded in that way. All right. So this is the course. You can go online now and start working with the course. I think I have the first 3 lessons ready. Lessons 4 and after that are still need to be updated with the due dates. But they're all there. You can start looking through the material. If we go into the syllabus one more time, I'll show you the due dates here and maybe just go over some course material. So 3 lessons due every week. Lessons 1, 2, and 3 are due on the 8th. Lesson 1 is just introduction to engineering and engineering ethics. Lessons 2, we talk about the scope of ethical consideration. So what gets concluded in our discussion of ethics. And lesson 3, we talk about the Ford Pinto. In fact, most of this course is major disaster cases. And the Ford Pinto is one of the big engineering disasters. So we'll talk about the details of the Ford Pinto. Talk about consequentialism as an ethical theory this week. So that's the first week. Second week, Fridays, the 15th. Remember, the replies for lessons 1, 2, and 3 are all going to be due on the 12th. And then on the 15th, your posts for lessons 4, 5, and 6 will all be due on the 15th. Lessons 4, we're going to look at Dennis Joya and conformity. Dennis Joya was the field recall coordinator who was responsible for the Ford Pinto. So we'll see Dennis Joya talk about, he writes this essay discussing his experience with the Ford Pinto. And so we'll look at his behavior, whether he acted ethically, and what informed his decisions. Lesson 5, we'll look at whistleblowing. You know, if Joya did have a obligation to whistleblow, we'll look in lesson 5 about what that obligation amounts to, who has an obligation to whistleblow and when, what other options do they have, what does it mean to whistleblow. We'll look at that in lesson 15. I'm sorry, lesson 5. In lesson 6, we'll talk more generally about honesty, integrity, and virtue in the workplace. We'll look at virtue ethics as an ethical theory. Lessons 4, 5, and 6 are all due on the 15th. And that means that your replies to lesson 4, 5, and 6 are all due on the 20th. By the way, the 20th is also the last date of, I'm sorry, the 19th. The 19th is the Tuesday of week 3. And that's when the replies for week 2 lessons are due. The 20th of July is also the last day to withdraw from the course. So if it's the 20th of July and you feel like you're way far behind, most of your work is late, you might consider withdrawing from the course without it affecting your GPA negatively. All right, and then on the 22nd, lessons 7, 8, and 9 are due on the 22nd. Lesson 7, we're going to look at the Code of Ethics from the NSPE, the National Society of Professional Engineers. They have an ethical code, and they also have a review board that considers ethical cases. So we'll start looking at some of the ethical cases discussed by the Board of Ethical Review of the NSPE. We can also talk about things like women in STEM, the treatment of women in STEM, and sexism in engineering fields. You might also look at some professional ethics specific to your career trajectory. I also have an article here about the history of engineering ethics. After we look at the case studies from the NSPE, this the third week, lesson 7, 8, and 9 are really our major case studies. So we already looked at the Pinto as our first case study. We'll have looked at the Challenger explosion before that also. But so lesson 7, we look at a bunch of different cases from the NSPE. Lesson 8, we look at the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, one of the worst environmental disasters in history, from 2010. And I have a bunch of resources here for looking at the background of what happened in the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Part of the goal here is for me to give you a good case study, look at some sources, and show you how to put together a case study from these sources. So that's what happens in lesson 8. Lesson 9, we talk about a different kind of case study, which is the issue of geoengineering. I'll talk about climate change, the history of temperature, and then we'll discuss as a class whether geoengineering is ethical or unethical. This is a difficult question. It's the kind of question that will become more and more salient as climate continues to degrade. So we'll talk about that in lesson 9. And then lessons 10 and 11 is your research project. So in lesson 10, well before lesson 10, you should pick a case study that you want to talk about. In Moodle, I have a big list of possible cases you might want to think about. Katrina, the Tacoma's Rivers Bridge, Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapse, the Hyatt Regency Bridge collapse, the walkway collapse. There's lots of different major engineering disasters that you might be interested in covering. So lesson 10, you do the research fact-finding week, and then lesson 11, you do an analysis. And that's doing the fourth week of class on the 29th of July. And lessons 10 and 11 are the only things that are due that week. Finally, the last unit of the course, lessons 12, 13, and 14 are all in artificial intelligence. This is my own research area. I do research on artificial intelligence and autonomy. In fact, in the fall semester, I'll be teaching the 400 level capstone course on artificial intelligence and autonomy. If you're interested in AI and the social impact of AI, you'll probably be interested in taking this class. It's Humanities 400, or maybe 455. It's a 400 level humanities course. So lesson 12, we just introduced the issue of artificial intelligence. I talk about some of the philosophical complications, and I have a bunch of robot videos so that you can see what robots do and what they look like. So we can have a feel for what the state of the art is. In lesson 13, we talk about machine autonomy. We talk about autonomous drones, autonomous weapon systems. We also talk about self-driving cars. Just a few days ago, the first person who has been killed by an autopilot Tesla was just killed that we know about. There's a lot of panic in the industry about what this means for the future of automated driving. So we'll talk about all that in lesson 13, beginning of August. In lesson 14, the final full lesson of the course, we'll talk about technological employment when the robots take our jobs. This is all due on August the 5th. The last day of course is August the 8th, which is the Monday of the last week of course. There's no full assignment there. This is just going to be a wrap up. What did you learn? Sort of lesson. All assignments will be due by the 8th. 8 is a Monday, which means that the replies for lessons 12, 13, 14 will be due on that Monday. So let me put that here. There will be no replies due for lesson 15, so these replies will be due on 8/8. And that's the course. That's the full course. You can look over the syllabus in more detail. You can look on Moodle. You should be able to get onto Moodle and look at the entire semester. I'll need to fix some of these things in the later lessons. But lessons 1, 2, and 3 are all correct online, and I'll be working the next couple of days to make sure the next few lessons are okay, so you can start working ahead. If you have any questions or comments, please send me an email at estrada@njit.edu. I'm going to try to be as available as I can. Right now I'm at teaching at a summer camp, so I'm a little bit time crunched, but I will be able to respond to emails within 24 hours. I will be checking the website constantly. I will try to stay on top of the grading as much as I can. If you have any questions, you have any concerns or issues, please let me know. I hope you enjoy the course. All right, thank you very much. Good luck.